What do you know about hemp? Let me tell you what I know. Make it abundantly clear that I don't believe I'm any expert on the field of hemp. Industrial hemp has now been granted the federal approval in the Farm Bill of 2018, which makes it legal in the United States for anybody that holds a permit through their local state government or local state Department of Agriculture to produce this on large scale. The thing that's nice about that is the fact that it shows you how committed America is to making it work for the farmer, for the small business owner, and everybody along the lines of the supply chain. Excuse me, whether you are the end user, whether you are the farmer, or whether you are the grocery store owner or the trucking company. All these moves and decisions made by our local government, and when I say local government, it starts as small as the mayor and it goes all the way up to our governors, and then obviously in the end the president, who makes the final call, or this Congress makes the final call, and then the president signs off on it to include it in our laws. So that all as a process, they've now come to the point where they agreed on the fact that industrial hemp less than 0.3% THC will be allowed to be grown as a normal crop. And when I say normal crop, some people go, well, what's that? Obviously, we are talking about corn, wheat, beans, potatoes. So the process is pretty easy. I would not easy, but it's less stringent than other states to get the permit. Now there's separate permits for growing it, there's another permit for processing it, there's another permit for indoor grows and outdoor grows, there's a permit extension that allows you to grow more than one piece of land if it's different pieces of land. There's an affidavit form that you have to get if you're not the landowner. So there's a whole lot of litigation and legislation put into place already for monitoring, managing it, because it looks exactly like the cannabis plant. It's part of the, you know, where you have Canabis Sativa, they claim is the overall name of it, or Sativa L. Canabis Sativa L is the top category of it, and in that category you get then your marijuana, which is a subcategory, and hemp, which is a subcategory. And as far as I know, those are the only two categories defined by law at this point, and science. So either in the one or the other category. Another reason why I'm making this video today is I've recently decided to start growing my own hemp in New Mexico. Now, as some of you may or may not know, New Mexico as a state, it's a fairly large state, it has millions of people living here. I want to say population of the state's between 2 and 3 million people, which it doesn't make it a small state by any means then. Obviously not as big as New York and some of those higher populated states, California, stuff like that. Still not the smallest state. And because of that, that makes it a good place to do this, because there's obviously population that's going to be using the product. But on top of that, most of the land out in New Mexico is almost uninhabitable, because it's like an arid, semi-arid region, or it is tribal land, which is owned by the local Navajo people, which they are the largest tribe in the US, if I'm not mistaken at this point. The other pieces of land is either used up by oil and gas, major cities, or just left barren in a way. The idea I have is to help this state grow its natural numbers, or GDP numbers, which is then typically GDP is defined as the gross domestic product. Now I'm sure there's somebody out there that's going to go, oh no, that's not what GDP stands for, because my name is Joe Dempsey Peters, and that's what GDP stands for, but I assure you it stands for gross domestic product. The gross domestic product that I could find online from reports mentioned that the majority of our GDP again is generated by the oil and gas industry. Tourism is on there, local business is on there, and there's a list of items that is listed, but when you look at the majority of what is produced out here, it is by far the greatest number oil and gas. Now, some of you may have noticed lately our oil and gas numbers have gone straight down. In the last month and a half, we've seen a drop off from just about $50 a barrel all the way south of negative $37 a barrel. Now that, that in my lifetime has been the first time I've seen oil be negative value. So at that point, I should have actually started buying some shares in it and say, hey, you guys can pay me so much and I'll take some shares in it. But that's not how it works, which kind of is a bummer. Wish it was that it worked that way. But anyway, so excuse me, I've got something in my throat. I just had a chocolate chip muffin, so obviously it's slick in there with all the chocolate. What's funny to me though is during all this time, everybody's caught up in the corona thing, everybody's caught up in the economy going to trash and getting their own paychecks from the government, and it is tax season on top of all that. So amidst the global economy crash and amidst the health scares and shutdowns and local people losing their minds, instead of trying to figure out what we can do to fix the problem. I'm not saying nobody's doing anything, I'm not criticizing. This is just my observation. Instead of everybody going, oh, what can we do to fix this? Everybody's going like, well, what the hell do I have to do not to get sick or not to get broke or just make it till the next payday? Which is real fears and real concerns. I'm not downplaying that. In the meantime, me thinking of how we can fix this thing, I've come up with one simple solution. And it comes in the form of pivoting, which is a very normal and effective way of businesses pivoting whenever the market changes. Now, being fluid in business or fluid in your approach or how you make your money, that's been a tale spoken since the beginning of time in business, in commercial terms. You have to stay with it, otherwise you're going to be obsolete, nobody's going to be using your services, blah blah blah. So the modern thinking approach, I think, is going to be our only way out of this scenario. Again, that's just my matter of opinion. How can we do that is the question I'm faced with most of the time. How do we pivot, or how do we diversify, or how do we strategize this turnaround, whatever you want to call it? And my simple answer is always this. Look at what the market's doing. Look at what the majority of people in the market does, and trying to find the sweet spot. And if you can't find the sweet spot, go the opposite direction. Now, when I say opposite direction, if somebody's pushing this way, trying to get something to give, it's not working, and somebody's pushing this way, hit the sweet spot, hit the middle. If that still doesn't work, maybe this area that we're trying to push against isn't the right area after all. Maybe we should be going the opposite direction, right? And that's where we find the progress. A business isn't necessarily linear in the form of up or down or left and right. Obviously, profit margins are. Profit margins usually gets associated with going up, right? If the profit margin doesn't itself grow, then put the price up for the same service or the same product and then make more money, and that takes profit up. Or take productivity up, and then that will, if you pick that number up and get your cost to go the other way, then by volume your cost will go down because you're producing more for exactly the same kind of time spent and same manpower, and therefore you'll have a profit margin rise. Now, what I've come up with as an area of Farmington, New Mexico that I live in, to prosper and get out of the ditch that we dug ourselves into, with oil and gas being the main income generator for everybody out there, is let's start making something new, something different. And hemp is the answer to that, I feel. Obviously, we'll have a few stumbling blocks along the way with local government and banks not being that interested in it necessarily because it hasn't been done yet. Like, I can't just walk into a bank and say, hey, I want to grow hemp, borrow me some money based on what the farm bill says, because people look at you and they go, yeah, we don't trust it yet because there's nobody that's done it, that we have a process to go by. So that now the other way we can get it is get with local business owners or local farmers, people that have land, and go make yourself a land lease deal. And the lease deal would look something like, hey, I don't have the money to buy your land, would you lease it to me? Yes. Okay, what do you want for the land? X amount. Well, how about I give you that in profit share in the business? You know, you could do that like a land share deal. And then if enough people start doing it, you can take that and form that into a cooperative. Have 10 guys go into business all on their own, but they form a cooperative that they sell their product to, and the cooperative goes to market and takes that stuff in bulk together and sells it as one entity and gets better price for it because the volume is small. And then when it comes to buying seed and supplies, you have a bigger order quantity that you have to get for all your members, so obviously that way you get discounts for buying bulk. However, the hardest thing I think is not going to be convincing the people of the area that something has to be done. The hardest thing might be getting the local politicians to get on board with it. Now obviously, as you know, politicians get elected by the people in their city, which then makes them the constituents of that city voting for who's in power at any given time. Now, you start by getting in touch with the right people and you form a business coalition. Businesses working together in coalition, and the owners of the businesses form the board members, and they take certain votes on the direction that the coalition can go. Almost like a chamber of commerce in a way, but I think the coalitions, I think in this sense, could possibly be stronger than just a regular commerce, chamber of commerce. And everybody having vested interest in that takes that over and then form a cooperative specifically for the farming proceeds and processes, and a cooperative, and then take that and benefit the smaller farmer. That way the farmer is actually a co-owner in the cooperative, because a member-owned cooperative, I do believe, is a very solid foundation, because everybody in their own way will have a say. Sorry guys, my coffee was spilling, so I figured I'd take care of some of that. Anyway, so that's the reason I kind of wanted to make this video today, not to blabber on and on and on about something as boring as a cooperative, business coalition, or even hemp. The reason why I think hemp can help a situation like how it's currently, not only does it trade for really good money, but it is fairly resilient as a plant in its own right, and it'll grow almost anywhere. Now when I say anywhere, I mean anywhere. If you look at New Mexico in general, it's very sandy, it's very duny in places, and it's very shrubbery, but it's more like the sagebrush and stuff like that, the desert style plants. So inherently you wouldn't think something would last out here, and obviously not a lot of rainfall. However, since there's a lot of tribal land around here, the government's always invested in infrastructure such as water ditch to get water to and from places, from the rivers, from the dams. So there's water rights that we can actually use to grow pretty much any crop that you feel deemed necessary. In this sense, this is the highest yielding crop that I know of, the most resilient crop that I know of, and there's always going to be a market with the health field looking into products and crops like hemp. So yeah, that's kind of my idea. So anybody that, you know, have questions about hemp, I'm not the foremost authority on it. I'm not a legal spokesperson for it. I'm not sponsored by anybody. It was just something that I am interested in getting into. I am going ahead with partnerships. I have possibly around 5, maybe even 7 partnerships with land or interior property that we can do this with. We are in the process of applying for permits as it sits right now, and I've got some contacts. Now it's the funding is usually the toughest part. Luckily, I have some money saved up. It's not much, but I have some money saved up, and it would help us get a start. And then from there, just exponentially grow it out, make it bigger and bigger and better and better, and find new processes. And I started aligning myself with the correct people in the business, and that I'll still do alongside with my regular day job, which a lot of you know what my regular day job is. I'm not going to go into detail right now. You know, in the trucking industry and mostly in operations. I'm an operations manager for a fairly large company. So, with that being said, I do believe there is a gap in the market for Farmington, New Mexico. I believe with the correct people, cited on, you know, the meetings and the information that I'm putting together, we can make a difference. We can get people back to work, because this will be foremost job creation. And we can also bring industry back in manufacturing and processing, or production and processing, because that's something that we definitely fall short on in this industry. So anybody who wants more information, go ahead, comment on the video, ask your questions. I'll gladly answer. I answer all my questions or comments. Also like and subscribe. It helps out the channel pretty good. And then yeah, we'll definitely see you guys in the near future. Feel free to hit me up. Let's get in touch. Anybody that has contacts who are selling hemp equipment in the US, let me know. We are looking for equipment. We are also looking for more land in the Farmington, New Mexico area, which is San Juan County. And yeah, let's put something good together. Take it easy, have a good day, stay safe, stay at home. Go and subscribe to the channel if I haven't said that yet. Hit the like button and hit the little bell icon so that you can get notified whenever I upload another video. And then I have to also apologize for not uploading every single day like I promised to try and do. But it is really tough uploading a video every single day on this channel after doing a full day of work, and then trying to edit, record, get the right video with the right topic. And I've recorded videos every single day, and I just didn't turn out to like the content as much, or feel that it's going to take anybody, you know, by interest to actually watch it. So that could have been the main reason why that never happened. I appreciate your time, guys. I appreciate every single one of your support. Take care. Again, be safe. Don't be a smarty pants. Don't get in trouble. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.